Going for a 4-4-2.
He didn't know what was going on in the room.
Elias managed to refrain from swearing.
He said, if you've got a problem with me, let's sort it out in the gym.
He's actually playing the Viola. The thing is...
Oh, come on! Come on! Where has that come from?
Yeah.
They brought through the door. You know, you look at the...
What a performance, the guys...
That we ruled off quite stupid things like that.
Live from Style Space at the Supporters Club. Right.
But he was getting a bit tired, I thought.
Come on! There we go! Come on!
Come on! Yeah! Go!
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Depends on what part of the world you are watching this show from. I'm just wishing you a good day. I do apologise. I have just had a stale situation go on. I am running late. I have just, as he said in the comments, had to put money in the meter. I had to brush my teeth. I had to get a shower, but I do apologize. Listen, I'm never late. I am never late, so I must apologize to you. But anyway, let's just get straight on to the video. The video today is about Antonio and Antonio's suspected injury. We believe he is going to be out for up to 6 weeks. And what does that mean for West Ham? So what we're hearing is that Mikel Antonio is going to be missing for 6 weeks due to obviously his hamstring problem, which he's got a history of having whilst being at West Ham. But listen, we can't fault the guy. The guy is running left, right and centre all over the park, throwing his body, putting his body on the line. The guy has done so much for West Ham over recent years and months. So I think we are, sorry, I just wanted to check something was on my computer. I'm having a few problems with my Wi-Fi and I've actually just changed broadband provider, so I should be getting my new Wi-Fi put in tomorrow. Fingers crossed, should everything be okay. But listen, let's discuss Antonio and how important he has been, of course, to West Ham. At the ripe old footballing age of 30, Antonio appears to be in the form of his life, having spent the last 2 or 3 seasons filling in all sorts of different positions. He's a winger by trade, as we know. And Moyes has, you could say, completed his Marko Arnautovic-inspired transformation, and you'd now be hard-pressed to find any Premier League defender who wouldn't acknowledge how much of a handful he is as a striker. He is quick, he's relentless in his running and pressing, he's physically strong, capable of the unexpected. As we know, Antonio has elevated himself into one of the league's biggest problems for defenders, and his goal scoring record post-lockdown stands at an impressive 11 goals in his last 15 Premier League games. But to add the cherry on top of the cake, look at his strike against Man City at the weekend. Nothing short of sensational at all. Positioning his body perfectly, he ensured City's major summer, listen, let me rephrase that again, his major summer signing, Ruben Diaz, could not get in front of him to clear away Sofal's floated right wing cross, out-muscling the Portuguese defender with his back to goal, firing a sensational overhead kick past Ederson in the blink of an eye. It was a remarkable goal, guys, and from a player who's had many detractors during his time at West Ham, namely around his ability with the ball. Granted, he can be clumsy at times, we do know that, but skill isn't what Antonio's game's based around. Persistence and wearing opponents down is what spurs him on, with that particular goal as an example of what he is capable of producing on his day. No longer is he required to run the flanks or run the channels of all the games, because Moyes has made a few tactical tweaks, shifting to a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2 rather than exposing 4-2-3-1 to employ wing backs. I suppose it's enabled Fornals and Bowen to push up higher in support of Antonio. No longer is Antonio looking to do everything for himself. He's looking to interchange with the box-to-box midfielders, Thomas Souček, as well as those wing-backs, Sofal and Masuaku, of course. He can now run in behind and use his pace to stretch the game, or he can come short in the knowledge that players like Bowen and Fornals are not only tucked in, a little further inside, but they're also 5 to 10 yards closer to him. Those small changes may sound insignificant, but it has allowed West Ham to overload in the wide areas when the opportunity arises, playing into the strengths of a player like Antonio, and in particular, Thomas Souček. The style of football being employed at West Ham isn't, well, sometimes it's not pretty, sometimes it is pretty. We all know that, but what it is, and what Moyes knows is effective with the type of players we've got at the club. It's completely effective, and it's the way of playing that allows Antonio to put defenders on the back foot rather than the other way around. And when he's able to do that, not only is Antonio looking good, but he's looking very, very good. So what does this mean for West Ham moving forward if we don't have Antonio on the ranks? Before we move on and discuss what that kind of means, let's have a brief look at the comments and see what everyone is saying related to the situation. So let me just quickly, we've got loads of people in here totally ripping the mick out of me for not having the greatest of Wi-Fi. Normally I do, to be honest. Normally, and Stephen Jolly, hello and good morning to you, mate. Time for Haller to step up. It absolutely is, and we'll talk about him in a second. Foshizi, hope you're well, mate. And Stell's having a dig at me, but yeah, I do apologise. It's very much not like me. Pete Chapman, you are saying Haller needs to up his game now. Absolutely, mate. It's time for Haller to shine. Fingers crossed he does. Foshizi, you're saying hi to Stell. Toby Sampson, I'm not worried. It's probably just Stell. Toby Sampson, what's popping for? Well, listen, just on that, Toby, you know, listen, we've got a history of the hamstring injury, but we are hearing that this is a bit more serious than we first thought, and he may be missing for up to 6 weeks. So I don't think that is a genuine joke, you know, so just let's see. Toby Sampson, hello Stell, mate, nice to have a cheeky Tuesday show, fingers crossed you enjoy it, but you know, it's not the greatest of news, to be honest. If it is, it's just bringing you as much news as we can. I'm not excited about Antonio news, Toby, that's true, mate, completely agree with you. Good morning, Foshizi. Daniel James, if Antonio was out for 6 weeks, we're in big trouble. Well, let's see. We're going to talk about it in a minute, about what we can potentially do. Time to play Teddy Sheringham, I take it you're talking about. Daniel James will have to play Haller, but to play Haller we need Benrahma in the team. Not so much, not guaranteed. I don't think we desperately do need him, because we've seen the best of Haller on some of the occasions under Moyes, when he has been supported. And as you said, and as I've mentioned earlier on about Antonio, we're now closing up that massive gap that we've seen up top. When we saw, say, a player on his own, not, you know, if you watch West Ham, we're pressing the defence more now, so we're giving support to that forward line. Mail Turner, Benrahma will run the show from now. Luke Bailey, Wi-Fi problems, God, I don't have those anymore. Haha, mate. Haha. Pete Chapman, Moyes needs to change tactics and go to up front if Haller starts playing more. But listen, let me kind of talk to you a little bit about what we are looking at. So, well, we do have Seb Haller on the bench, who's in great form in the League Cup, of course, against lower league opposition, to be fair. At least I get that. And he does need support up top, and he won't be able to do the exact things that Antonio's been doing. But like West Ham and all other teams around the globe, West Ham will have to, at some point through any season, adjust to formations and tactics. I don't know any other team that can go through a full season playing the absolute same team, unless you get very lucky with injuries, and or same tactics and formations season in and season out. And these are the occasions that we need to work for. So let's hope that Moyes has a plan B. What I want to do, though, is I actually want to bring in a video of a bit of what Stell actually did on his West Ham Weekly related to Sebastian Haller. So let's have a look. You know, I was going to talk about it, but I thought if I take a little snippet from West Ham Weekly, you can actually read and listen to Haller's previous history and what West Ham could potentially do. So we'll come back on after I play this video for you.
You know, senior debut at Auxerre. He started his career there in... I've lost the year, but it doesn't matter. He started his senior career at Auxerre, you don't become a crap player overnight. And I know a lot of people are talking about, you know, that he's not worth the money that we paid for him, etc., etc. 26 years of age. he spent time at Auxerre in their youth development setup, and before he's making his senior debut in 2012, he made 57 appearances for them, scoring a modest 8 goals and 3 assists. And then in 2014, he went out on loan to Utrecht, the Dutch league, where really his career really took off. His loan spell was turned into a permanent signing. He made 98 appearances for Utrecht, scoring 51 goals, 17 assists. That's that's about 1 goal in every 2 games. And that prompted an interest back in Germany. And then he made his move to Eintracht Frankfurt, where they signed him for a fee of £6.3 million. And as you saw there, he took the number 9 shirt at Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, at Frankfurt, I mean, prolific. 77 appearances, 33 goals, 19 assists. Now, you don't go playing. Germany, the German league is a tough league. You don't get those sorts of stats if you're a crap player. And I just think, Kent Hammers said it earlier. I think there's a lot more that Haller can offer West Ham. All right, his first season at West Ham, not prolific by any stretch of the imagination. Only 7 goals in 34 appearances. But already this season, and I know what people are going to say, already this season, he scored 5 goals in 8 appearances. All right. 4 of those were in the League Cup, but it doesn't matter who you play against. You've still got to score. You've still got to take your opportunity and take your chances when you can. And Haller did that, and then he came on in the game against Wolves. He got a goal in the dying minutes of that game as well. And for me, I think it proves that if Antonio is out injured, we're still waiting on news. We think it's a hamstring. West Ham are being cautious. But if he's out, then surely the only recognised striker that we have in our squad is Sebastian Haller. Surely, if we play to his strengths, now it's quite interesting because I look at the way we played last season, at the end of last season, when we had Antonio as the front man, and Antonio was about 40 yards further forward than every other player. They were so far behind him that he had to hold the ball up, wait for players to get to him in order to assist. And it kind of started changing slowly. And we've seen this season that, players like Bowen, players like Fornals, etc., are far closer to Antonio than they were when Moyes came back and adopted that system. Now, if we play like that with Haller up front, I can guarantee you that Haller will benefit from that. I think he will. I think he's the sort of player that he, all the assists he got when he playing for Eintracht Frankfurt, all the assists he got when he playing for Utrecht. It means that not only is he a goal scorer, he's a goal provider as well. So if you've got players in or around him, they're going to benefit and he's going to benefit. But if you try and play him alone up front, all on his own, it's not his game. We know that. We knew that when we bought him for £45 million. So for me, that's the best. That's the way we can get the best out of Haller. And I think, in my mind, I think Sebastian Haller doesn't become a shit player overnight. I think he's a good player. He just needs to be played in the formation that's.
Thanks, Stel, for doing that. That was on Stel's West Ham Weekly show, so go and check out the show, which was put out on Sunday night. And the reason why I wanted to bring that in was because I didn't want to repeat too much of the information, because I felt like I was going to go down the same route where Stel was going down, and I felt like Stel justified potentially why Haller, I think he's getting, if you look at specifically social media and or sometimes the comments that come in on videos, you do get a lot of people going, he's past it, or he's not capable of playing the West Ham style under the current regime that Moyes is doing. But we are in a situation, and there's comments coming in here, and this is, I want to bring up one comment just now that Daniel James is saying this is when Moyes' player management will really be tested, because he needs to rest players to avoid injuries. I worry he's just not great at making key changes, and there could be an element of truth in there, Daniel, because when he's found a formation, it's great and things work out well, but it doesn't just work with 11 players, and we need that squad. We need to manage that squad really well, and that's why, if it, have we managed Antonio well enough? We're getting the best out of him, absolutely. Precautionary bringing him off against Tottenham, it was the right thing to do. Was it the right thing to potentially start him against Manchester City? And maybe we should have brought him off a lot earlier, if we knew that was going to happen, because history repeats itself, and that's exactly what happens with Antonio. If he's not treated properly and not rested properly, we can't expect Antonio to constantly put his body on the line all the time. Like, we can't expect him to do that and not come up with an injury. So the Sepp Haller situation is, we've got a player there who prior to not starting the last couple of games was on confidence. He's got 5 goals this season, albeit against 2 of them against lower league opposition. He came on and scored a last minute goal against Wolves. He'll be chomping at the foot to get on that park and try and support the team progressing moving forward. And for me personally, I think there still is something in the engine there with Sepp Haller, as long as West Ham can actually play to his strengths. If we go back the way and don't support Haller going up top, it's literally no point in playing him. What else are we going to do? You're going to play Yarmolenko up top. People are calling Yarmolenko slow. I don't call Yarmolenko slow, but I don't think playing Yarmolenko up top alone and not being supported is the right answer, because I don't think Moyes is going to be able to find what we've got in Antonio in another player. I think we need to now play to the strengths of what our squad offers us. And Sepp Haller, as Stell said, has got history of assisting and scoring goals. Yes, okay, you can say it's not in the Premier League, it's been in the German league, but at the end of the day, if he's supported well enough, and we've got the players, which I think we've got the players, and even Fornals with his work rate recently can support the likes of Haller. I want to go back to a game I think we played last season against Southampton, when we had Haller, Antonio and Bowen up top. I think we came out of the game 3-1 winners. Going forward, West Ham were unplayable like sometimes, and it looked like you had those 3 players working really, really well together. Haller was up top and Antonio was on the flank supporting him, and maybe there's a debate here to say maybe it's time to see a little bit of Benrahma. We don't know, but he's only just, I think we will get to see a bit of Benrahma come on and potentially support the likes of Haller, but this is an opportunity now for Moyes to show us what he is worth as a West Ham manager, and he's not just one-way thinking. I'm paying Moyes compliments. I'm not slagging him off, but we are in a situation. We are in a situation where now Antonio looks like he's going to be missing, and he's going to have to work with the squad. If he doesn't play Sebastian Haller, what message is that sending to Haller, and what message is that sending to some of the other players? And I'm not going to be so disappointed if Benrahma doesn't play for the next game, because maybe we're going to start integrating him slowly into the Premier League. I don't think Benrahma will start. I'll be shocked if Benrahma is going to start against Liverpool. But I think Yarmolenko, again, comments are coming in here about Yarmolenko. I get it, but I think Yarmolenko loves to cut inside from out on the wing. That's his best suited player as the support to the forwards, and I don't see him coming in place of either Fornals, Benrahma and or Bowen on the right hand side. You've got Haller up top, you've got Bowen on the right, you've got the potential of Fornals just in behind and or Benrahma, and that's going to give you support. If you get something else on the other side that Bowen can do, this is what the squad's here for. This is what the squad is here for West Ham to fluctuate that squad and actually go out and show us what you can do. We can't just rely solely on 11 players to start week in and week out, because at some point someone's going to get suspended, someone's going to get injured like we see with Antonio, and it's time for Haller to shine. Anyway, you've probably had enough of me talking. Let's get onto some of the comments and see what everyone is saying. Sorry, I didn't know that. Teddy is Sebastian Haller's middle name, Anton. Apologies, mate. Didn't know that for Sheezy. So, yeah, there you go. Learn something every day. Daniel James, he is absolute class, but he needs a system that suits him, and Moyes hasn't found that yet without Grady. I don't know, mate. I really don't know, because what if we... I'm not going to sit here and bash Grady Diangana, but apart from what he did at West Brom, what did he do at West Ham? I didn't want to sell Grady Diangana. I'm not slagging off the sale, but what did he want to do? What did he do in the 17 odd games he had prior to that? Yes, I think it would have been good to have kept him, but we didn't. And now we need to move on from that. And I think the system, if he wants to try the system that maybe Diangana was going to play that we saw in pre-season, then he's got a player like Benrahma that can potentially step into that. West Ham, Dalek, Yarmolenko needs to be on form for this match versus Liverpool. Don't care about the others, but this one has to be a plus to be plus Chelsea. Yarmolenko needs to be on form. I think Yarmolenko, listen, I think Yarmolenko is a great player. I really do. I think he didn't have his best game in the West Ham colours against Man City, but to be fair, we did see that his wife was expecting, and he had the baby the next day, and that could have been on his mind, and I get that. So I don't know. I think that's a borderline harsh comment. Yarmo will lose us the game versus Liverpool. We'll keep all the comments for the Liverpool game for our Liverpool preview. But I think there's definitely weaknesses in that Liverpool side. I think they are currently they've conceded the most goals in the Premier League this season, which is an interesting stat to look at. Toby, I like that for when the wing backs can help out the two in midfield. But remember against Spurs how they just bypassed Souček and Rice because they had an extra man in centre mid. They did, but we changed it in the second half, and we kind of met them head on about how Spurs were going to do it. So let's see here what everyone else is saying. I agree, Toby. The centre midfielders will have to drop back from box to box role to defensive midfielders against the top teams. I don't know if I agree with that, Foshizi, mate, because I think if West Ham sit back against the top teams, then all we're doing is inviting them. That's what they want. They need, the top teams come up against teams like West Ham and want West Ham to sit back because their style of their formation and their tactics and the way they set up is to go at the teams. But when a team goes at them, they don't know how to cope with it. It wasn't just completely one-sided against Man City. West Ham fought and gave us something and showed us something in that game, albeit the last 20 minutes were a little bit, panicking about it. But, I mean, we'll see. I've already said that one. West Ham Dalek, we need to get Joshua King from Bournemouth on transfer. He can play with Antonio one-on-one with the others behind. Listen, I think we will get Josh King, to be honest. I think we'll potentially see that. Foshizi, Haller loves width and quality in the air. Masuaku, Creswell, Sofao and Fredericks could give him all quality crosses as well as Creswell's free kicks for the counter. We'll need, and then Benrahma. There's options there as well, and that's what we need to do. And listen, something else we didn't mention was Creswell's recent fine form. He's assisted 3 goals in his last 3 games now, I believe. And it's inevitable that we get him forward and getting those crosses in, and you're going to have threats. And what a ball it was from Sofao. And listen, that wasn't that we did not expect that from Sofao. We expected that from Sofao because when you look at his history, the amount of goals he's assisted and the style of goals he's assisted, that's the style of play. He gets forward and he crosses the ball in. That's exactly the sort of player that Sofao is. So he's got the ability to cross the ball. Creswell's got the ability to cross the ball. Masuaku can deliver. Bowen can deliver, as we know. And we just need to, tidy up Fornals a little bit. Fornals is a quality player. I think he's got a fantastic future at West Ham. If we can just get him a goal, I think he could bounce on and do really, really, really well. And I don't see Fornals being dropped. I really don't just now because he's done so much work. The problem, like I said, is going to be what Moyes can do and if he can change tactics ever so slightly. This is definitely going to be interesting to see how Moyes can handle an injury to Antonio. I think in some games he could have been rested better, and when you give as much as he does, that's key. I do agree with you. I totally agree with you. I think we need to manage a player like Antonio. Now, he's not getting any younger. He's in his 30s now. Yeah, okay, he's hit the best form of his life, but we know he's got hamstring problems from the past, and when he plays consecutively like he's done, injury-free for the time he has, I suppose it was expected because he's expected to do a lot of work up top. Let's see what this is saying here. Cross hammers. Yarmo knows where the goal is, though. He absolutely does, mate. My concern is that I think he is really slow up top. He's a clever footballer, absolutely. But we would probably need our midfielders we'd probably need more people to support him even closer and tighter than what Bowen and Fornals are currently doing. Let's see here. Simon Garner. Basically, this is the difference. Antonio can work harder, run faster, and make his own chances. Haller cannot, and he needs another player to put it on a plate for him. Very sad, but true. But that doesn't mean he's not a good player, mate, because he is a good finisher. He's got history of being a good finisher. He has a prior history of being a prolific goal scorer and a strong team worker, and with the right formation and the right team members supporting him, then that's what strikers are brought in to do. And yes, okay, Moyes, we know Moyes likes a hard worker, but we've not got that with Sebastian Haller, so we're going to have to change up something a little bit. Let's see here. Oh, it's just jumped again. Let's have a look here. Loads of comments coming in. I'm going to try and see if I can jump. Still, why ruin Benrahma by lumbering up front? The poor lad has been through hellfire already with his medical. We need to give him a chance to acclimatise to the EPL. I take it, Still, did you mention bringing... there we go. Benrahma could play up front, but for me, it's Haller. No, I don't agree with Benrahma playing up front. I'm not saying you're saying you want him there, but I don't agree with him playing up front. I think he's been brought in for a position which is either on the left or in behind the striker to give you support, because he's going to offer us something like that, something a bit different. And to be honest with you guys, okay, he's played in the Championship at the highest level in the Championship, but I genuinely think that a game like Liverpool, for example, where they're conceding goals and they literally can carve open their defence right now. And if you look at Aston Villa game, they couldn't cope with players like Grealish. They couldn't cope with the tricky players like Barkley that they had on the park. And that's what was opening up Liverpool's defence. And there needs to be something in that what Moyes should look at. Ollie Watkins banged in a hat-trick. Ollie Watkins isn't the hardest working striker like Antonio is. He's completely different. And Aston Villa's style of play against Liverpool is what got them 7 goals against Liverpool. Okay, we're in a crazy times and the scores are all crazy, etc. But you've just got to look at the Aston Villa game and see how easily Liverpool could have been carved open. And they had Virgil van Dijk in their defence, and they don't have him for the up-and-coming game. So it'll be interesting to see how we do line up. Let's see here. The only way we'll get results against so-called bigger teams is front foot football. Sit back the whole time. We get mullered every week. Kent, I couldn't agree with you anymore, mate. I could not agree with you anymore. Sit back, we get beat against the big teams. And sit back against the lower teams, we get beat. There's literally, West Ham don't suit the sitting back, protecting the lead. Unless we've got 5 minutes to go and we're winning 3-1. It just defeats the purpose for a West Ham style. So, yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Zach Parker, Fornals, is playing that well out of position. Ideally, we need to be a back 4. Fornals in front of Rice and Souček, Benrahma left and Haller up top. He's working so hard and he's covering so much space. I know the comments are coming in saying Adrian was in goal against Liverpool, but listen, I get that, mate. But did you see how easy they were stripped open in that defence? They were absolutely carved apart, mate. And to be quite honest with you, not all those goals were blamed for Adrian. It's not just Adrian's fault, because the defence, if you watch and you listen to all the pundits, they couldn't keep a straight line. They were all over the shop, mate. And that was because we were there. They were there for the taking. They didn't know how to deal with the tricky players. They put Grealish on the park. They put Barkley on the park, and they couldn't cope. And there was, I don't know how many times that Aston Villa were through 1-on-1 with the keeper. That's not the keeper's fault, in my opinion. So I get that. And Alisson is back. I get it. But also they're missing Virgil van Dijk, which is one of their biggest. Well, we don't know. We think Alisson's back, but we will see. Jack J. Hammer, as bad as the injury to Antonio is, it could have been a lot worse. And the fact that we've got this horrid run of fixtures, it doesn't concern me that much. Jack, it's a good point to make, me. We certainly didn't expect to come out of those run of fixtures with 8 points. In actual fact, if I'm being brutally honest with you guys, at the start of the season, and we all did at the start of the season, think we maybe walked out with 3 points, and maybe that was going to be for Newcastle. And look how that worked out, and look what we've actually went and done. Ben H. Haller needs to pay back some of his 45 million we paid for him. No excuses. We paid good money for a striker, so he needs to deliver regardless of formation, players holding his hand, etc. Ben, I don't know if I agree with that, mate, because I don't think in history West Ham have had... tell me about the strikers we've signed in recent years. I know we've got a bad history under the current ownership of signing strikers, but what players have we ever played to their strengths with? We've never played to the striker's strengths. Even you could go far as back as saying, and I don't rate him, but you could go back as far as saying Zaza. Did we support Zaza? Absolutely not. And Chicharito and with no consistency in our forward line. The only consistent player we've had, or 2 consistent players we've had, are Arnautovic and Antonio, and they were not brought in as a striker. let me see here. So many comments coming in. Fushisi Anton, remember Adrian was in goal against Villa. I get that, but I've just made my point about the defence. Let's see here. Still saying, good point. Teapot Pixie play Fornal Central behind Haller and Bowen, which is similar format to Frankfurt that Haller was accustomed to. Yeah, good point. That could be good. So listen, keep the comments coming in, hit the thumbs up on the channel, subscribe to the channel. Hope you are enjoying all our videos. And it's not great news that we believe that Antonio is going to be out injured for the next coming weeks, but we need to utilise the squad and utilise the team. And this is the time for Sebastian Haller to step up to the occasion. And fingers crossed we can get something. So make sure you join us. We've maybe got a few more videos coming out this week. We'll let you know in the coming days on our social media. Keep the comments in and let us know. Are you happy with the videos we're doing, etc. And yeah, we'll keep you updated as much as we can. Anyway, subscribe, like, and comment. And thank you for joining us. My name's Anton. And this is Irons United. Come on, you Irons.